What if one wrong click could cost you your business and your client's trust in the same process? We've seen all over the media news where businesses lose data, information, access. They even get their bank account or credit card hacked, and in some cases, they even have to pay money to regain access to their information. Today, we're going to discuss simple steps that you can start taking today that is not going to take, in some cases, more than 5 to 10 minutes, and it's going to give you a better level of protection. And in most of the cases, it's not going to be at a high cost. Many virtual assistants are drawn to this career for the freedom it offers. We are able to work from home or anywhere in the world. I know I do that. I travel a lot. And in some cases, I work in airports, coffee shops, and co-working spaces. Basically anywhere with a Wi-Fi connection. But that can be a huge risk. Hackers love public Wi-Fi. Why? Because the connection is not secure. It means that they can intercept your connection and steal your data and information without you even noticing. And as I was saying at the beginning of this video, the risk is not just for you. If you are helping clients, chances are that you might have in your computer some sensitive information. It might be important documents that you're working on, it might be financial information, or it might be some assets that you create for their business. In some cases, you might also have login information they share with you. So to help avoid the risk associated with these cybersecurity vulnerabilities, you can use a VPN. A VPN is a virtual private network. A VPN encrypts your internet connection, making it harder for hackers to access your data. And the good thing about VPNs is that they are not very costly. Normally, you can find VPN subscriptions from $3 to $10 a month. And if you search for plans that cover you for a longer period of time, you might be able to even find better deals. VPNs can make your connection slower. So just to avoid that, in some cases, while traveling, what I use is my cell phone as a hotspot. Now, before we go too deep into this, I wanted to make sure that you understand that a VPN is not an antivirus. So as we said, a VPN is going to help with privacy. Now, an antivirus is actually going to protect your device. It's going to scan and remove malicious software. And the thing is that since they are different, you are going to need both. At least that is what I do. That is my recommendation. There are some free antivirus in there. I personally pay for a service that actually includes a VPN in the plan, so it's not that expensive. If you cannot afford paying for a subscription, make sure that at least you use a free antivirus. It's still better than not using anything. Now, my next tip is completely free. One of the easiest ways to protect your business when you are working online, when you are, again, a virtual assistant, transaction coordinator, freelancer, is to keep your software, your system, your apps up to date. Don't get me wrong, we are all guilty of receiving these notifications that said that you have to install some updates and hit the remind me later. And I totally get it, because normally that happens in the middle of the day when we are all busy working. However, the longer you wait to install these updates, the longer you expose yourself. You see, when these software companies release updates, they are not just giving you more capabilities or better performance or more features. Yes, they absolutely do that, but they also release these updates to fix security vulnerabilities. So next time, instead of remind me later, hit install now. Now let's talk about passwords. And of course, we all know how important they are, and we all know that we're supposed to have strong passwords. However, most of the people use the same password in many different accounts, which is a very unsafe type of practice. You're supposed to have long passwords with a mix of letters, special characters, and numbers. However, most of us cannot remember all these passwords that are that long, that complicated, especially with the amount of accounts that we handle in the daily basis. And this is why my recommendation is to use a password manager. To start, you only need to remember one password, the master one. That's it. The password manager is going to actually generate this type of long and strong passwords without you having to write it down or store them anywhere. Also, you're going to have the option to autofill, which makes the process easier and faster. One of the perks that I love the most about the password manager is that you can share passwords safely with your team. It's not just the convenience of sharing that, but also my team doesn't even know what I'm using to log in. They don't know the username, they don't know the password. That to me is a huge advantage. First, because obviously I don't want them to know the password. It's not a best practice, obviously. But also, if I need to change the password for security reasons, which is definitely recommendable that you change passwords often, then I don't have to inform them. They don't even going to know that I changed it. They will still log in every time the same way. And let's say that a team member is leaving my team. I can just enter to the password manager and remove access with only a click. Some of the popular options are LastPass, 1Password, and Bitwarden. And in some cases, they offer free trials. Sometimes they even offer like a limited free version. You have plans starting at $3 a month, which is not going to break the bank and is going to make your life easier and more secure. Unfortunately, I have to also tell you that having a strong password is actually not enough. When it comes to online security, you always want to have a 2FA or two-factor authentication. And the most common one, which is a text message, an SMS, is actually the least secure of all the methods out there. And the reason why I say it's not safe is because of the SIM swap attack. A SIM swap attack happens when a hacker actually contacts your mobile carrier and convince them to transfer your phone to a new SIM card that obviously they control. So basically they can intercept that SMS and use it to gain access to your account. So instead of relying on SMS as a two-factor authentication, I encourage you to instead choose an authentication app, like the Google Authenticator, for example. It's free and so simple to use. Now, since we're talking about security, in my opinion, this is actually better than SMS, but it's not the best option either. The best way, in my opinion, is with a physical security key. And the most popular in the market are the Yubico Keys. Yubico Keys are actually the most secure forms of 2FA. They cannot be intercepted. They are physical and they are linked to a specific account. And every time that you sign in, at least in a new device, you have to put your password, but also you have to touch the Yubico key in order to generate that type of code and then log in. Now, as you might imagine, if you don't have the physical key, you cannot access to the account, which make it a better security measure because the hackers are not going to have your key. But at the same time, it has a risk that if you don't manage that correctly, you could be locked out of your own account. So what I actually do and recommend is to have two Yubico keys. Basically, one that you're going to use all the time and the other one as a backup. Now, the Yubico key is not free. You will have to go ahead and purchase the keys. And yes, it's an expense. In my opinion, well worth it, and I will leave the link in the description below if you want to know more about the Yubico Keys, so you can make an informed decision and evaluate if that is something that you would like to incorporate to your security efforts. Now, if you're finding this information helpful, please consider giving me a like and subscribing to the channel for more videos like this one. Now, let's talk about phishing attacks. These hackers are going to try to trick you into provide some type of sensitive information. And the way they do that is to urge you to do something. Pretty much they use panic, right, as the tool for you to enter your credit card information, your bank account information, your login credentials, whatever it might be. The first thing that you need to do in these cases is nothing. It's to stop and think. Don't go ahead and click anything. Don't reply to an email, but rather go and either call the company that is supposedly sending you that email. Don't use any of the information in the email. Just Google the company or log in your account, do your due diligence, talk to someone, and verify if the email that you receive is actually coming from them. It's never a good idea to act under stress. So take a moment, evaluate the situation, and then react as needed. Now, talking about domains, one extremely important aspect of securing your domain is making sure that nobody can impersonate you and send emails to your clients or potential clients. DMARC is an email authentication protocol that helps avoiding phishing and spoofing. It basically ensures that only authorized senders can send emails on your behalf. So without this type of protection, the cyber criminals could potentially impersonate you and send fraudulent emails to your clients or potential clients and make it look like it's coming from you. So as you can imagine, it's not just your clients or potential clients that are going to be affected, but also your reputation is going to be damaged. So I'm not going to lie, this is a process that is, for me at least, very complicated. I don't know how to do it myself. However, I can tell you that there are services out there like DMARC that can do that for you. Now, another pro tip that I wanted to share with you is that insurance companies actually offer cyber liability insurance. The company that I use for my errors and omissions actually offers that as an add-on. That might be something for you to consider in order to have peace of mind. Now, I also wanted to urge you not to forget about your phones. Okay, your phones can also get viruses. Your phones can also be compromised. And if you think about it, we have access to almost everything through our phones as well. So another pro tip is for you to extend the antivirus protection to your cell phone as well. Now, if that is not an option, that's perfectly fine. Run Certo. Certo is an app that you can get for free to make sure your phone is not compromised. Again, this is also part of not just being protected, of course, but also have peace of mind. And since we're talking about peace of mind, we absolutely need to mention backups. In some cases, these attacks are actually ransomware, and they're going to ask you to pay them money in order to regain access to everything. It's a really good practice for you to have backups. And the experts recommend the 3-2-1 system. And the 3-2-1 is for 3 copies of your data, 1 primary and 2 backups, 2 different types of storages, for example, 1 in the cloud and another one in a hard drive, and 1 off-site backup that can protect you against physical risk like fire or theft. Also, in my case, being a real estate transaction coordinator, one of the biggest threats that I have and one of my biggest fears is wire fraud. It's very well known in the industry, and pretty much real estate agents, title companies, we're all easy targets. And this is why I personally always ask the title companies to never ever copy me on any wire instructions. I ask them to send them directly to the buyer. But that is not the only risk. Not too long ago, I had an interview with the title company where the rep was telling me about how sophisticated these hackers are getting when impersonating the sellers. So go ahead and watch this interview right here.